What the happened in Super Bowl 44. The matchup was between two offensive powerhouses led by veterans well into their careers. Drew Brees led the high-scoring Saints offense that averaged just shy of 32 points a game that season, and MVP Peyton Manning led the Colts offense that held the best record in the NFL that season, 14-2, where they notably won 7 of those games by less than a touchdown. The Saints got the ball first and started with a handoff up the gut to Pierre Thomas, who only managed to pick up 2, and on second, Brees dropped back and pump faked before checking it to his back Thomas, who worked forward to set up 3rd and 2, where Brees looked for a deep shot from Meacham, but overthrew him, and they'd have to punt it away going 3 and out. The Colts started throwing the ball as Manning threw up the seam for his tight end Dallas Clark, who caught it and slid forward to the 45. Joseph Adai took the next handoff, falling forward for 2 after a jump cut, and on second, Manning threw it to him on the rail route where he picked up a few more before being cut down by Roman Harper. On 3rd and 4, Peyton found Clark over the middle, spinning outside on the zig route that got them another conversion. Next play, he tried Clark again, but this time he was tightly covered and it was knocked away. On second, Garcon came underneath on a screen and juked around for only 3 before Peyton threw off his back foot on 3rd for the rookie, Austin Collie, who shook his man from the slot and was tackled about 5 yards past the sticks. Adai took a dive up the middle for 3 on the next play before a false start backed them up to 2nd and 12, where Manning threw it to him on a quick curl out of the backfield to set up 3rd and 5, and Manning led Garcon a hair too far in front, and it fell incomplete. Matt Stover's kick would score the first points of the game, giving them a 3-point lead halfway through the first quarter. Brees tried checking it down on the first play of their drive, but Thomas was covered up and it fell incomplete. On second, he fired quickly to Colston on the slant to set up 3rd and 6, where Brees dumped it quickly to Reggie Bush, who turned upfield and bolted into the secondary for a big gain, setting them up near midfield. An outside handoff to him on the next play got them about 3 as he trotted out of bounds, and on 2nd and 7, Brees fired for Colston wide open on a curl past the sticks, but it bounced off his face incomplete. On 3rd and long, Brees tried going back to him again, coming over the middle on a dig, but he was tightly covered this time, and it was batted down, and they'd have to punt it away from the logo. The Colts started the drive pinned deep, where Peyton faked and then tossed it over to Donald Brown, and he weaved through defenders before lowering his shoulder and picking up the first. Manning tried him again out of the backfield, but he couldn't haul it in, and on second, Adai galloped through a gaping hole before getting his ankles wrapped up and falling forward for 16 and a first. Manning threw it away as heavy pressure approached him on first down, but on second, Peyton checked to a run play after digesting the defensive look and handed it to Adai, who took it outside with a straight shot to the first down marker. Next play, Manning found Reggie Wayne on the quick out to get them halfway to the marker again, and on 2nd and 5, Donald Brown bruised forward to get them 1 yard shy of the sticks, where they handed it to Adai on a trap run up the middle, where he broke a tackle at the line and then took the hardest hitting date rapist in the league's ankles before going down at the 23. Manning play faked next before just throwing it away in Wayne's direction. On second, Brown bowled forward for about 4, and on 3rd and 6, Manning let loose a rainbow for Garcon, who beat the double coverage on a streak to the end zone, and they'd score, taking a 10-point lead nearing the end of the first. The Saints got the ball back near their own end zone and started with a handoff up the gut to Mike Bell, who got a decent gain of 4 before Brees threw a tight window ball for Colston, who made a tough catch over the linebacker to move the sticks. Reggie Bush took the inside handoff from the gun and got popped after picking up 8 yards on first, or they'd hand it to him again and he'd be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage before diving out of bounds, where he was actually hit late. The officials called it, giving them another first down. Here, Thomas caught a check down out of the backfield on the next play, breaking tackles and spinning around before picking up 9, and on second, Thomas broke the tackle in the backfield before picking up just what they needed before getting wrapped up. Brees then found Thomas on a quick stick where he fell forward past the first down marker inside Indy's 30 before Thomas got stood up trying to come around the edge on a bounce to the outside. On 2nd down, Brees barely avoided a sack before hitting Henderson sitting in the flat, falling forward for 6. He tried stepping up again on 3rd and 3, but Dwight Freeney got a paw on him and ripped him down, and they'd have to settle for a field goal for their first points of the game, and it was 3-10 halfway through the second. The Colts called for play action on first down, where Manning faked to Adai before tossing it to him in the flat, and he had plenty of green grass to work with before getting taken out of bounds just shy of the sticks. They tried him on the outside next, but this time he'd get buried in the backfield for a loss of 3, and on 3rd and 4, Peyton put up a perfectly placed ball right in Garcon's hands coming over the middle on a dig, but he dropped it, and McAfee would have to boot it back to Brees. Brees started the drive with a dangerous high throw up the seam that he was lucky to get back before checking it to Thomas in the flat on second to set up 3rd and 3, where Brees caught it in the empty gun and found Colston open on the out route where he worked his way forward to the 48. Bush took the next carry, but slipped for almost nothing, and on second, Brees hit Jeremy Shockey on a stick to get get them near the first down, and on third, he stood in and delivered to Lance Moore in the flat, who was wide open, and he worked his way around a defender to get them inside Indy's 25. They tried an end around to Henderson next, but there was nowhere for him to turn upfield. He just ended up running out of bounds, losing 7 yards. Breeze gunned it over the middle for Colston next on a deep spot, where he turned and ran through a tackle to get them knocking on the door inside the 5. A throw for Moore in the flat got them nothing on first, and a false start moved them back to the 8, where Thomas took the handoff and slashed through the defense to get a good gain and set them up on third down from the goal line, where Bell took the handoff but slipped in the backfield, and they try again on fourth down, and Thomas was stood up, and the defense of Indy rallied, making a goal line stand inside the 2-minute warning. Mike Hart took the handoff from the fullback position to get them out of their end zone before they gave it to Adai, who fell forward just shy of the marker. On third, they handed it to the fullback again, and he got stuffed, and McAfee booted a low punt that set up the Saints at midfield with a timeout left. Breeze instantly punished Indy's zone coverage with a zipped ball to Henderson over the middle to get them in range for a kick before he hit Henderson again in the flat, who got tackled in bounds, forcing them to take their timeout. And on 3rd and 4, Bush caught the check down for a negligible gain, and Garrett Hartley's kick went through the uprights to cut the Colts' lead to only 4 at the end of the half. Sean Payton, whose sack was gargantuan in this moment, decided to go for a surprise onside kick to start the half, and Hank Baskett dove for it, but the ball squirted free of his grasp, and it was recovered by the Saints. They started with a check down from Breeze to Thomas, who bounced through 2 tackles before falling forward past the marker for a first. Breeze went to Henderson next with a tight throw that got them just shy of the first, where he went right back to Henderson again on an out route to pick up the first inside Indy's 35. Next play, he stood strong in the pocket before delivering to Colston to set up another 2nd and short, where Thomas easily found the gap and hit it for a big gain and another first in the red zone. Breeze dropped back and dumped it to Thomas on the screen, where the blocking in front was great, and Thomas weaved through defenders, diving into the end zone, and they'd take a lead off the ballsy halftime decision. Payton started the next drive rolling right and hitting Dallas Clark, who slipped down after a gain of 7, before tossing it out to Adai on the screen, where he'd break through some contact and fall forward past the marker for the first. They handed it to him again, where he made a great jump cut to get past another defender before getting popped past the 45 for another first down. Manning went to the rookie Karl on the next play, but he couldn't find anywhere to go, getting tackled after picking up 2, before Adai picked up a tough 4 yards on 2nd, and on 3rd and 4, Manning rolled right and threw a dot to Clark over 2 defenders to get them into the red zone. Manning tried Clark again next play, but he was getting mugged over the middle and wanted a flag, but didn't get one, and the ball was incomplete. Brown took another carry up the gut from the gun and got a good 5 yards before going down, and on 3rd and 5, Payton caught it in the empty gun and found Clark on the block and release, where he got them down inside the 4 of New Orleans. Adai made a shifty jump cut and spun on the next handoff before fighting through one more tackle and getting into the end zone to flip the lead again in Indy's favor. Stover's kick was good, and once again they seized a 4-point lead halfway through the 3rd quarter. A good return set up the Saints at their 34, where Pierre Thomas fell forward for 5 before Reggie Bush cooked his man out of the backfield and took it to the secondary before going down at the logo. Next play, Breeze tried to throw it to him, but it bounced off his fingertips in the flat. On 2nd and 10, Breeze stepped up and hit Henderson on a comeback for a quick first down inside the 40. Next play, Breeze tried Meacham on a zig, but he was covered up and only picked up 1 before Thomas hurtled forward for about 2 on the next play, and on 3rd and long, Breeze stood in and surveyed before dumping it down to Shockey short of the sticks, where he got tackled, and they'd have to take a 47-yard kick that Hartley drilled right down the middle, and the Colts retained a 1-point lead nearing the end of 3. Manning stepped into a throw for Karl on first down that picked up 9 before he stepped out, before Brown pounded the rock right up the middle for the first. He found Karl again on a quick stick to get them halfway there, and on 2nd and 6, Manning lofted it out in front of Garcon on the slant, who delivered some punishment before going down near midfield. The blocking was piss poor for Adai on first down, as he got brought down in the backfield before anything could materialize, and on 2nd, Manning took a shot but underthrew Wayne, who struggled to locate the ball and it fell incomplete. On 3rd and 12, Manning stood in and delivered just short of the sticks to Wayne on a curl, and they'd go for it. Wayne ran a quick slant, Payton put a touch throw right on his chest, and he took a hammering from Darren Cosby after picking up the first. The Colts tried setting up a screen for Karl next, but the blocking didn't connect, and he got buried in the backfield, and on the next play, Manning threw deep down the seam on 3rd, but Karl had to play DB and just swatted away. They tried the 51-yard kick with Stover, but it veered left, no good, and they'd hand it over to the Saints with good field position. Bush took the handoff around the tackle and got around the edge in the blink of an eye and picked up a first down in Indy territory. Brees had all day on the next play and let it loose for Thomas on the crosser where he picked up 5, and on second, Henderson caught it on a quick out past the sticks for the first. Brees went back to Bush on a rail route on first, and he hauled it in 2 yards short of the marker before he lofted one for Colston on a comeback route for another first, and on the next play, he rocketed one out for Henderson in the flat where he stiff-armed a bitch into the dirt and then worked forward for a few before getting popped out of bounds. On 2nd and 4, Brees tossed it to tight end David Thomas on a stick for a first inside the 5, where Pierre Thomas carried it forward for 3 on first, and on second, Brees threw a quick slant to Shockey, who caught it in stride and backed into the end zone for the score. On the 2-point try, Brees rolled right and fired for Lance Moore on a quick out, and he rolled sideways. On first glance, it looked incomplete, but after the review, he actually secured the ball and held onto it as he crossed the plane and tumbled to the ground. The conversion was good, and the Saints were suddenly up 7 deep into the 4th quarter. The first play of Indy's drive was a false start that backed them up to 1st and 15, where Manning had all day in the pocket where he threw across the field for Garcon, who came back for it and juked forward for the first down. Manning tried Wayne on the next play on a deep out, but it was a bad read and almost intercepted. On 2nd and 10, Garcon got open on a quick in and Peyton hit him low, and he stumbled forward for the conversion. Reggie Wayne got it on the wide receiver screen next and weaved between blockers for another first before Manning threw it to him again on a quick in for about 5. And on 2nd down, he tried Karl, who was running a double move up the seam, but it was too far in front, incomplete. On 3rd and 5, Peyton threw quickly for Wayne on a curl, but Tracy Porter was all over it, jumping in front of him and weaving past Manning, taking it all the way to the end zone to put New Orleans up by 2 touchdowns with only 3 minutes left on the board. The Colts got it back, and Manning went to Clark on a short throw over the middle for 5 before hitting him again against New Orleans' soft coverage, where he had plenty of room to run after the catch for a first. Next play, Manning went deep up the seam for Karl, who caught it and fell forward, losing the ball after he hit the ground, but he was ruled down. And from the Saints' 30, Manning checked it to a die who turned upfield and got 17 before going down. Peyton stood in and delivered to him again on the next play for about 6, and an unnecessary roughness call on Anthony Hargrove that was probably a glimpse into the bounty system of the Saints defense, as he speared a die in the ribs after he was down. On 1st and goal, Manning dropped back and flung it off his back foot to the corner of the end zone, where Jabari Greer caught it out of bounds, incomplete, and Garcon was called for a pass interference, backing them up to the 14, where a die caught the check down underneath and worked forward back to the 3, where Manning threw one that got batted in the air and bounced off the crossbar, incomplete. And on 3rd and goal, a die was buried in the backfield for a loss. On the 4th down try, hoping for a miracle, Manning tried Reggie Wayne on a tight window throw, but it bounced off him incomplete, and the game was all but over. Brees knelt on the ball, Sean Payton got a Gatorade bath, and the Saints got a now bittersweet victory with a huge asterisk next to it due to the Bountygate scandal. Peyton Manning had to get neck surgery early in 2011 that caused the Colts to draft Andrew Luck and ultimately move on from him, and he'd have to find a new home a year later on the Broncos. Neither of these teams have made it back to the Super Bowl since. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and click the thumbs up on the video if you liked it. Also, I'd really appreciate if you guys could join my Patreon for early access to new videos, and I have exclusive game reactions that I can't post here on YouTube, like my reaction to this year's Super Bowl. Anyways guys, I'm going back in time and making a what the f*** happened video for every past Super Bowl, and I even have one for this year's Super Bowl, so go and check it out. Peace!